So we're in this like really awesome conversation about controlling our own thoughts. And I find myself even today, even in the last hour, feeling better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so do I, actually.
Just because we're talking it through and we're recognizing that we're doing what guys don't do very often, and just being authentic and putting this thing like on a table, and we're just looking at it and we're talking about it. And one of the things that I really cherish in my life is I've got 3 friends, and I count you as one of them.
Thanks, man.
I have more than that, but I have 3 true guy friends that at any given time we can have a conversation. And yes, we might have a little bit of small talk. Yeah, we might like tell a joke or whatever. But if I need to go deep with you, I know I can go deep with you. That's why I said earlier in the show, man, if you ever want to call. Or if you want to leave me a 5-minute audio note, do that too. Like,
they're going to be crazy, but I'm in.
I love it. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to be walking. Spanish just left me a 5-minute audio note. I can't wait to hear it. So my friend Kevin, who we might actually be listening right now. So if you are, hey, what's up, Kevin?
What's up, Kev?
He's driving today. He's got to take some stuff from his brother-in-law's house in Houston to where he lives in Vegas. So today and tomorrow, he's driving whatever that is, 30 hours. I don't know. Oh. So it's a brutal drive.
Sorry, Kevin.
Now, normally, I like road trips. I think they're a lot of fun. But when you're on a road trip and those negative thoughts are circling, man, it's like a bad scenario.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. I've driven to and from New York a lot in my life with my family up there, and now my kids live up there. And there's been a couple of times where I've driven back from New York or to New York by myself with a on repeat, like, why can't I get this negative thought out of my head? So Kevin calls me this morning just as he was getting on the road, and I called him back on my way into the station, and I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And just as I said to you a second ago, he immediately jumped in. He immediately was like, hey, man, I'm going through some stuff and I just need to talk. And then like 15 minutes later, he took a breath. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, you don't have to apologize. I'm like, that's why we're friends. Like, I'm here for you. And just as you would be here for me, so that when I need to talk, I know I've got a place in which I can do that. Like I said, I've got my friend Kevin in North Florida, my friend Kevin, who's currently on I-10 somewhere, and you, that I know I can always lean into you, and you should know you can always lean into me.
That's fair. Thank you for saying that. That makes sense.
The thing that the reason why I'm bringing this up, one, I did tell him my hack about, here's my playlist Spotify with 10 hours of affirmations, and dude, you got nothing but time right now.
I'm sure he appreciated that, man.
But I was like, hey, dude, it feels good to talk. And he was talking about, stuff going on with his situation. He's my friend that just got laid off a couple of weeks ago, so there's that dynamic in the house, and what are we going to do? And look, allowing him the place in the room to just talk made him feel better, and I mean, we didn't solve the world's problems. We didn't solve every crisis he's got in his household, but it allowed for a what if reframe. It allowed for it like, well, what if it all works out okay? And one of the things I told him, so he's in sales, he's a VP of sales. That's he's really, really, really good at sales. And one of the things I reminded him was like, the world always needs salespeople. I was like, so I recognize that, you got shafted by your last company and they fired you with no notice and you didn't see it coming. I was like, but your skill set is needed in the world. Like, how to sell things. And one of the conversations I've had with a lot of people, even this week, people in radio, you and I have a lot of friends in radio, and they are a lot of people getting laid off right now in radio, and will continue to be laid off. The industry is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. But the reality is that radio people don't always see their skill sets.
Yeah.
You and I have had this conversation about you.
Sure, yeah.
Like, you have amazing skill sets.
I didn't believe you. And believe it or not, I got a sales job. It turns out I'm really good at it.
Yeah, and you're really good at it, and I think that just comes from you spend a lot of time talking into a microphone and entertaining people. You're comfortable with how you speak to people. You have confidence whenever you have a conversation with people. That comes from all the stuff you learn in radio. Now, what I said to my friend Kevin is you have a tactical skill set of being able to sell products. And there are companies that will always need that. And it's not like you're just a car salesman. You've been a VP of sales for the last decade. Like, finding a job
Yeah, that
ain't going to be hard.
easy. Yeah.
And so, and as he was starting to talk it through, he's like, he was telling me about a couple of opportunities that were coming up and things like that. And I'm like, great. Like, see? And it was just, again, we didn't solve all the problems. We didn't solve everything. But there was a really magical moment where the version of Kevin at the beginning of that conversation and the version of Kevin at the end of that conversation were different. And all he did was talk. All he did was just get through and just vomit for 15 minutes about the stuff with him and his wife and the getting laid off and everything. And it just feels good to just sometimes let all of that go and not, this is really the heart of what Let's Get Real is all about. That's why we always invite you to call 1-800-771-1025 if you just need to talk something through. But absent of talking, what happens? The thoughts, they just keep circling. And just like the caller from the last segment said, we over-index on those past mistakes. And one of the things I said to Kevin today, and I'll say it to you, is, just like you, just like me, just like Kevin, just like Isaiah, just like all of us, we've all made mistakes. And there's nothing you can do about those mistakes. Maybe you can change something or whatever, but what you can do is change what you do moving forward. And if you can remove yourself from the negative thoughts to see the possibility of what if everything goes right, then you start to see directions and pathways that actually allow you an opportunity to do something different, to change the course. And yeah, you're right. We spend thousands of lifetimes figuring out these things that we're supposed to figure out. But in that moment of Kevin talking, of just releasing it and letting it go and putting your problems on the table so we can just look at it and play with them and move them around, it felt good for me to be the recipient of helping him, but it felt good for him to just be able to talk.
Yeah, man. I love this for so many reasons. There's so many different levels to this. Doubt we'll get to all of them, but I'm going to try.
Sure.
My favorite is the realization that that being allowed the space, which I know sounds a little hokey, but being allowed the space where two people can use each other as a catalyst to not only release negativity, but to become more connected with your own subconscious, I think says a lot, and is a good example as to how people can help each other moving forward. And not just doesn't have to be a good friend. It could just be, sometimes it is a random stranger that you end up talking to that, it gives you that what if, that pop that happens. And I love the thought of, you're right, we may spend eternity, doing this over and over again. But sometimes what I have thought in the midst of a real bad mind trip is I'll get this sense of like, it feels like my physical body is in a serious war with my eternal soul. Oh. And it's like they refuse to understand each other and they're both on their own timeline. And I'm stuck in the middle being like, there has to be some middle ground here that we can come to where everybody wins. Like, it can't just be all one or the other,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, but that all plays into, I'm sure it felt really good because people, we're a storage bank, right, for these thoughts. And if you don't let them go, that frequency, that vibration is in you, and it will vibrate off the walls of you and keep bouncing around you. And if you don't let them go, man, they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go but just inside you, bouncing around for however long you allow it.
Yeah, and then you just create more and more and more of that. Ian is on 1-800-771-1025. What's going on, Ian? Welcome to Let's Get Real.
Hey, guys. How are you doing today?
Good, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, sorry. I can barely hear you. Yeah, so, I don't call radio shows often, but I really love what you guys are doing here with the program.
Thank you.
I heard you guys talking a lot about mistakes, and I just want to remind people to, be gentle to yourself. We are our own harshest critics, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and, that's one thing that I've really taken focus on this year is just being able to forgive myself. Talking to other people about, ways that I make them feel, it's like, well, I'm being way harder on myself than I even need to be, or even how they feel. you know?
Yeah.
So I just, I have to remember that kindness and grace that I give to other people, I have to practice that with myself. And that's, really looking in that mirror and practicing those things that you talk about with yourself, your own personal relationship.
Yeah, and you said it, man. It's about having some grace with yourself. And because it's what we're talking about today. It's so easy to let those thoughts just circulate and circulate and circulate. But yeah, forgiveness for yourself. Forgive yourself for those mistakes. Because like I was saying, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do. I mean, yeah, all right, so you maybe can fix a mistake or whatever. But like if you've made a mistake and there's nothing you can do about it, harboring thoughts about it is like it will do no good and actually create more of the stuff you're trying to avoid. So yeah, having grace and kindness with yourself, forgiveness for yourself. Amen to that, Ian. I appreciate that. Anything else to add before we let you go?
Sorry. Nope. That's really, I just had a brain block there. I don't call often, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and, maybe I'll catch you next week.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call, and thank you for listening. Thanks for using this as a time to call us. 1-800-771-1025 is our phone number. But it's true, man. It's true. You get caught in that circle of thoughts, and if you don't get out of it, life is just going to keep throwing stuff at you, and it's going to be like, all right, I guess you just want to keep learning this messed up lesson again and again.
Or, that's where the God thoughts have started to come in, where it's when you take the further step back and you're like, this is still all part of it. And this is still the universe showing me how many different colors I get to choose to paint my life with.
Yep.
And understanding that, I am responsible for all of these things that have happened to me makes me go, man, the universe got a lot of colors, dude.
It's got a
lot of colors to paint with, so might as well enjoy it,
You might as well make as pretty a painting as you possibly can.
That's right.
There we go.